Here is your brief news update for March 12, 2026. I'm Marcus Vance. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Exchange of military experience between Ukraine and Germany. Representatives of the Ukrainian armed forces will share their combat experience with the Bundeswehr. According to the Inspector General of the Bundeswehr, Christian Freuding, Germany plans to use the Ukrainian experience of modern warfare, including the use of drones and artillery, to train its armed forces. Berlin notes the need to increase the army's combat readiness by 2029, taking into account the current geopolitical situation. Viktor Orban's statements about threats. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban announced on social media about threats made against his family, urging his relatives to be cautious. The source of the threats is not specified. The statement comes against the backdrop of diplomatic disagreements with Kyiv over the uncoordinated visit of a Hungarian delegation to inspect the Druzhba oil pipeline. Incident in the Iranian city of Minab. The New York Times has published preliminary investigation data regarding a strike on a former school building in Iran, which resulted in the deaths of approximately 175 people. It is alleged that the strike may have been carried out by US forces due to the use of outdated intelligence data, according to which the facility was still listed as a military base. Commenting on the incident, Donald Trump stated that he had no information about this strike. Deployment of US forces in Romania. The President of Romania has approved the deployment of American refueling aircraft, surveillance systems, and satellite communications at the Mihail Kogălnicianu Air Base. Romanian authorities emphasize that the deployed equipment is strictly defensive and non-kinetic, unarmed in nature. Escalation of the conflict in the Middle East. The Hezbollah group announced a series of rocket and drone attacks on Israeli territory. In response, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, launched strikes on targets in Beirut. Israeli ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, called on the Lebanese government to take control of the country's southern regions, acknowledging the possibility of a ground operation if the shelling continues. At the same time, according to US media, attacks on US military facilities in the Middle East are continuing. Situation on the border in the Sumy region. According to the Ukrainian analytical project Deep State and the Russian Ministry of Defense, Russian troops have advanced in the border areas of the Sumy region, establishing control over the settlements of Besilovka and Chervona Zoraya. Analysts note that the goal of these actions may be the creation of a buffer zone to control the territory and prevent border raids. Compliance with language legislation in Ukraine. The Commissioner for the Protection of the State Language in Ukraine, Olena Ivanovska, issued a reminder about the necessity to provide internet services in Ukrainian. The requirement applies to online consultations, blogs, and commercial pages on social networks. It is reported that over 130 complaints regarding violations of the language law online have been received. Attitude of Ukrainians toward post-war elections. According to the results of a Razumkov Center poll, a significant portion of Ukrainian citizens opposes the participation in future elections of individuals who left the country during the hostilities. Up to 76% of respondents believe that such citizens should not have the right to run for state and local offices. 62% of those polled oppose granting voting rights to those who cross the border illegally. We serve up news from around the world. Subscribe. Take care.